Good afternoon, guys, and thanks a million for joining me here on day 24 of 100 days of code. We're going to continue on as we have throughout this process and keep on coding, so let's go. So what we're looking at is this useEffect and useReducer. useReducer. So yeah, I had to go with this yesterday, so let's just keep continuing with the video here. Thanks for joining me. Much appreciated. And I just want to give a huge shout out to my friend James Nelson, another YouTuber. Check out his channel. I'll leave a link down below for supporting me on my journey. So thank you so much, James. And check out his channel. He has some great content also. So thanks. Appreciate it. And we'll just keep going here. So I'm just watching the video as always. Oh yeah, I was just showing you something yesterday with that. Where was that? So here we have a warning, and our warning is telling us line 8 of login.js. So login.js up on line 8, we have this constant, my const, and I was just demonstrating something, and it's a string that says hello. So we can just get rid of that, and that warning will go away. It wasn't actually included in the code. I was just explaining something last time. Can't even remember what it was now. So we'll just keep going. Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do now is declare two constants, and we are declaring them for our useEffect in our login.js file. So, okay, I don't have that. I don't have that, Maximilian. So we'll just find out what's going on here. So we have our password reducer, our email reducer, perfect. Action.type, we give it the type that we want to pass in, which is just an identifier, so we can then do something with that type. So do this with one type, do this other thing with another type. That's all we're doing there. The way he said earlier was great. Earlier. It was just sounded great. Max is awesome. Says me, I say loads of things strangely. You know, it was endearing. So yeah, Max is awesome. Oh, so that's what he's done. He's just uncommented his useEffect code. So yes, shouldn't have deleted that. So what I'm going to do, so basically what we're doing here now is Max has got to the stage where he's updating the useEffect piece of code. And I hope I committed it, because basically what I'm going to do, so he said, oh, let's just uncomment this block. But basically the file was getting a bit too big for me. There was stuff everywhere. So I just got rid of it rather than uncommenting it out. I obviously shouldn't have done that, because now we're in a situation that I don't have that code to uncomment again and to go back to the useState way of managing the state of these particular form inputs, our password and our email. So what I will do is I just downloaded this, or added this extension a while ago in one of my previous videos during this 100 days journey, and the extension was Git Lens. And what Git Lens allows you to do is go back through your old commits in a very easy way. You don't need to pull up GitHub, you don't need to check through the file changes. You can literally just do all that here in Visual Studio Code. It's so handy. So here's the extension. I'll just show you guys, you know, because who knows what video people are watching and what they haven't watched, and just while I'm getting it up I'm waffling, so you know, chatting away here while I'm getting it. So this one here, Git Lens, and this is great. This is actually supercharged. So do I just have Git Lens? You can install Git Lens and Git Lens supercharged. They're two different ones, but they do the same thing, and you can only have one or the other extended, because I did try and install both at one stage, not knowing that they do the same thing basically. Someone can probably correct me on that, because there is two different ones, so what's the reason? Anyway, Git Lens is great. It's very, very useful, and we're going to see it in action now. So I hope I did commit at this exact point, which is why it's important to commit your code as you go, so you can roll back and just get things that you might actually, do you know what, that was a good approach, I'll go back to that way. So it adds these arrows up in your toolbar that you can just click through and see what your previous commits are. It's so useful. So we'll just go back another version. This version doesn't have the method that we're looking for, which is the useEffect, using the useEffect approach, so for managing the states of these. So I'll just go back again. Come on, what are you being so slow for? Okay, so this still isn't it. So this is our reducers, so we still have those in. Oh no, this is the code I'm looking at. So no, useEffect isn't there. I'm just going to go forward one because I did that quite quickly. So no, let's go back. It's not this one, because we didn't just see it. I mean, I can't really be complaining it's being slow. It's pulling a whole new version of the file, so, and it's such a great tool, so it's not really slow. I've decided I have to update my computer soon. I have to update everything. But if anyone's thinking of starting a YouTube channel, guys, all my equipment is, you know, standard equipment, like cheap enough, cheap as chips, everything, like, so, you know, you don't need loads of expensive equipment to do anything like this. I'm going to have to upgrade just for my own sanity when, you know, editing videos and stuff, that it just doesn't take a day and a half, but that's for myself. But you can get started with something pretty basic, because all my stuff is pretty basic, and here I am. And yeah, so just to say that as well. Okay, so guys, I do not have that code, that's fine, but you can see how useful that tool is, Git Lens. We can just go back and look at previous things. So now we're back to a state where we didn't even have this file wrote. So useful, you know, you can just go through all your versions that you've committed, and silly old me didn't commit at that stage, but that's fine. We'll just write it again. So here we're going to add a useEffect function, and we're going to go back to this implementation of checking things and managing the state, I think. So then we're going to have our useState to manage the state, and then useEffect to do the validation. That's what I think we're going back to. So I'm just going to copy this function that he has here. So it's useEffect, and then we've got our open parentheses. This is just another React hook, which are very useful, so they're great. And we'll just open up a parentheses and then make our arrow function and open up our curly brackets and get typing. So we have a const called identifier, and we're going to equal that to set timeout. And we had the timeout because we didn't want it to run the validation all the time and every keystroke. We wanted it to run it at a logical time when I had got all the input into the field. So we just put a little delay on that, and that's how we did that. So this is another arrow function, set timeout, and then in here we're going to console log just to show that we have come into this set timeout function, and say checking form validity, because that's what we're going to do in here. So checking form validity, validity. Yeah, that's correct. Cool. And then we're going to just add our semicolon and then run the set form is valid function, which is going to check if this form is valid. So then we are going to put in our email state, and we have is valid. And same for disabled. And no, we don't want it to be disabled. We want to check if it is valid. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the screen there. So it auto-filled that, and I thought I had selected is valid. And then we have our password state. And again, we just stop doing this to me. So pass state. Okay. So pass state, and then we just have is valid again. Why is my fingers wrong today? So is valid, and then we're also going to just add a comma here and 500 for 500 milliseconds. So that's great. And then perfecto. And then what's going on down there? Then he has a return in here. Oh, where's that return? Oh, I just have my login in the wrong place. I think he put it right. So here's our export default login. Then we have what's being returned out as this component, as our login component. And we have our email change handler. Okay, so this is what he's looking at now, I think. Okay. So yeah, so he has this 500. Yeah, it's happening here. I was wondering how he just had a return statement in the middle of everything, but it wasn't in the middle of everything, it was here, so that's okay. So then he has a return for this particular function. So we're going to return, again, it's an arrow function, so we just, oh, what is going on with my fingers today? They're being awkward, hey. So we're just going to return and arrow function and open up our parentheses here, curly brackets, and console log again. And this, we're just going to console log cleanup. And all this is showing us is that this doesn't run every single time. We only see cleanup at 500-second intervals. It doesn't run all the time. So that's displaying that this set timeout is working for us. And then we're going to have clear timeout in order to clear that timeout once we're finished, and we pass an interval, or no, identifier, excuse me. Identifier, if you spelled it correctly, you would see that suggestion. So identifier, and then we have a semicolon here, and then just after this parentheses we pass in what we want to use the effect on. So it's the email state, and then comma, password state, or pass state as I called it. So now pass state is not defined. Okay, so we also got rid of our oh no. So I think we need to get our email state and our password state back again. Why can it find, okay, so it can't find email state or pass state, so that's okay. Okay, so yeah, we've just got rid of all these because I didn't think we needed them. So now back up here, we are going to define all of these different states again. So here's our useEffect. So we're probably going to comment out all this stuff now because we've gone back to a different implementation, which is great. It's great for learning. So we're learning all these different ways to do the same things. It's brilliant. So here I'm going to define a constant and pass it in an array, and this is going to be our two items that we want to set the state of. So they will be email state in this case, because that's what we're checking down below, and then you pass it the set method. So the function that you can set this first, the first thing you pass in the array is the variable you want to track, and then the second thing is the function that updates that variable. So that's what we're going to do. So now we have email, set email state, set email state. And then this is equal to set state. And just open parentheses. Just going to check another component to make sure that's perfect. Set state. It is set state. Use state. Use state. Use state is what we want. Use state. So we're going to use state there, and then I'll just duplicate this line and pass in password state in this case, because we do have pass state defined for our useReducer function. So just to keep this a separate name, I'll use this instead. So there's our password state and our email state, and we're checking if they're valid. And then we also have this timeout being run on all of this, so we're only checking if it's valid every half of a second or 500 milliseconds. And then once we've come out of here and things are valid, we return, even if they're not, this will check if they're valid or not, and then you still come out here and it's going to return just console logout cleanup and also cleared the timeout, and we've passed it in this timeout here, so it's just going to clear that. And these are the two things that we want to run this on, the useEffect, and the second one should be password state, because we have defined that state as password state now. So I'll just put that in here, and then also this should be set password state. Sorry, my chair is still squeaky. Could do with a new chair too. We're getting on grand with the things we have, do you know what I mean? You could have a long list as long as your arm of things that you want and need, and we'll get them eventually. So it's all good in the hood, and we're going to continue. Be grateful for what you have already, guys. My squeaky chair is sitting my butt on it. That's good enough for me. So let's keep going. Just want some water. Right. So now he's just checking that. So let's have, oh yeah, so we have errors anyway that we need to fix. Oh yes. Okay, so we have an error. First of all, we need to define set form is valid. So we'll do that. Set form is valid. Okay. What did we, oh yeah. Okay. Yes, I understand, I think. Okay. Right, this is so much redundant code. I'm going to just keep watching for a moment until he comments out all the second approach, because there's just so much code in here that's like, you know, many approaches going on here now. So I'd like to just keep watching for a moment until he comments out the approach that we've just tried, and now we've moved on to the new one. So completes that transition and gets rid of the other approach, or comments it out, because that was the problem here to begin with. But we can have a look at these issues, so first of all, and just solve these ones. So the login.js on line 28 and on 29, the use state cannot be called at the top level. React hooks must be called in a React function component or a custom React hook function. So on lines 28 and 29, let's go and have a look. So I've put these in the wrong place, guys, right? So what I think is the problem is, yes, so all of this stuff, so we're not going to need this anymore. This is one of the things he's going to get rid of. I can actually collapse it, that makes it easier, you know. And I'll collapse this as well. These little arrows just get rid of it for you, and it's very helpful. So I'll comment, hey, stay away you, put you away for a reason. So we'll just collapse those for a minute, and then what's going on here now is these two, I think, should be declared down here within our function declaration. So, and our component declaration. So we want to use these within the login component. So therefore we should tell it we want to use these within the login component. These are sort of just floating at the moment, is my understanding of this. So it's saying React hook useState cannot be called at the top level. So this is the top level, you know. It then says React hooks must be called in a React function component. So this is our React function component. This is our component login, and this is the function defining that component. So they just need to come on down in here. And there's our form is valid. So we already have our form is valid. There's our email state, there's our password state, but these are the reducers, which now we're not using that approach anymore. So I'll get rid of those. Oh, we'll just leave them for the moment, shall we? To not make home load more errors. But what we will do is take these and move them in, because that's what that error is telling us there. React hook cannot be called at the top level. This is the top level, you know. It must be called in a React function component, which is down below our login component declaration, which is a function. Hey, you messer. Why is this? Okay, let's just forget about that. So we'll just come down here and paste those in here. And now email state has already been declared. Yes, it has. So now I'm going to console log out these, or comment these out, sorry, because we know we're going to do it a different way, but now other things are going a bit mad in it. So we don't need our validate email handlers. Yes, we probably do. So no, we don't, because now we're doing our validation up in our useEffect, because here's no. Okay, I'm going to just keep watching for a moment, because I want Max to comment out all this other code from changing the approach. Like, I could go through and do it, but you know, I'll probably make mistakes and then be going back and just confuse everybody. So let's just do this logically and watch the video for a moment. Okay. Right, I skipped all the way to the end of the video, and it looks like he still hasn't commented out that code. So what I'll do is go through it and let's fix this ourselves. So log in, we're going to paste those back in there. We need our password state and we need our email state, and we're going to use Usestate, and they should be down here. So now so email state has already been declared, so we will call this email reduce state and pass reduce state, just so we know that this is from the reducer. and so we don't get that same error saying you know, you should only call it one thing. So then wherever email state was defined, email state, and this is using the dispatch update, the dispatch at the minute. So I'll just get rid of this dispatch because we're not going to do it that way, I don't think, unless he's combining the dispatch and the set state. I don't know yet. So anyway, let's just keep on trucking on here. So I'll get rid of the dispatches. I'm being a bit too reactive right now. I've told you in previous videos, when you're trying to code, you should try and really slow it down and be very meticulous in your approach. So this isn't the best approach, just flying around here commenting things out like this, but I just want it to work again. So, which is why I should definitely take my time. Sure, I can't even see it properly, the font is so big. Can you see it if I do this? No, it's just not good enough, is it? No. So we'll keep it big and I'll just figure this out. So I'll close this over here just for a bit of a visual. Commenting is what we're going to do now. So then we have our useEffect. That's okay, we just define that. And he's after defining that down on line 54. So within our login component declaration. So I'm going to move that inside here. Okay. Because that might change something. Email reducer and pass reducer is not defined, and neither is pass state. So okay, that's fine. We're getting closer because yeah, we've just commented out a whole load of stuff with email reducer, pass reducer, and the reducer functions. So let's just leave this uncommented for the moment because he didn't uncomment that, and still we need to see what's going on. Okay, and now pass state, and that should be okay too because we changed the name to pass reduce state, and we had been using it further down, and that's great because I actually just completely changed the name. So here, password state, and you know what, I'm going to call this email state S state and password S state. So the new things I write, I know for sure where these are coming from. So this is, which really if we had just separated out the concerns and followed one method, that would have been easier, and probably taken a break at the point I did in the middle of doing this change probably wasn't the best place to take a break, and I'm doing this in the evening, not in the morning, so I don't know, just can't remember what was going on really, to be honest. Well, I can, we're getting through it, this is fine. So now let's see what our errors are, right? So I'll just reload this. Oh, I already know one of the errors, yeah. So one of the errors is about this email state and password state here. So we know our email state should be email reduce state. So we'll just go here into our little search bar, which you just do with CTRL and F like you do trying to find anything, right? So you can do that on websites, you can do it in documents, CTRL and F, and it gets up your little finder window. So we know now that this is email S state first of all, so I'll just change that. And we also know that this is password S state because we've just defined these things, we've just wrote this function again. So there you go, we have them named the right things now, and we didn't use this anywhere else, we just declared it up here and used it here, so that should be fine. And now if we go back to our email state, all instances of email state, just to match up with what we were doing, should be changed to email set state. So I was going to just change them all, but then we have this one, so we don't want that one to change. So the ones we want to change are the ones down here, because this is from the old method, which we're going to go through and update now, but just to get rid of these errors. So this is now called email reduce state because we were previously using the useReducer. way to do this. So this can be changed, so we just switch that one out. This can be changed, this can be changed, and this can be changed. And then we have our password reduce state, pass reduce state, because I just wanted to change the names of these so I could use the names I had up here, and then I went to change the names of these anyway, but at least we've got some indication now in the name of what it's actually being used. So this is the set state, this is using the state, and this is using the reduce approach. So now we have our, I hope all this makes sense because I feel like I'm flying through it a little bit, but I just want to get back to working, so sorry if I flew through that a little bit too quickly, but I hope you are following along and just see the madness that I'm, you know, causing here. But anyway, it's all good, so we'll just keep going. So the pass reduce state, I'm going to have a look for that, and I'll just get rid of this. So it was pass state, and we want to replace it with pass reduce state. So this instance can be changed, yeah, as can this, as can this, as can this, and okay. And now right, so now we have email state is not defined. That's cool, because that should be email s state. So you can see there where that error was. Once I clicked it, it changed, but it was giving out about that one, so we did change it. Okay, so I'm just going to make sure, save everything, give this a hard reload because we went a bit crazy, and see what happens. Okay, cool. So now it just can't read is valid. And is valid. So set email state is assigned a value but never used. Set email state is assigned. So let's find out what line that was on. So these are just warnings, so that's okay. I'm not going to worry about the warnings because once we get around the error, we can then see our project again. So we're in a better state if we just solve this error first. So login line 45, we've got something flagging here. So this, shouldn't that just like be an inbuilt thing? Oh no, it shouldn't, because he's defined it here. So okay, cool, yeah, we just missed out on a declaration. So it's like is valid is included in forms. But, so is valid is like a thing, you know, and it is a key tag word, keyword in certain parts of Angular for sure. It's in JavaScript as well, for sure. Like, I'm pretty sure, like I'm just doubting myself now, which I also told you guys, don't doubt yourself, go with your gut, just go for it. Generally your first instinct is correct, so therefore there is valid state in JavaScript, and if I'm wrong someone can correct me as always. And if anyone ever has any suggestions or sees anything I'm doing incorrectly, please do let me know. I would love your feedback, guys. I'm here to learn as well, and I want us to learn together. And really I do want to teach people that are like coming in at a more junior level than me, because I didn't have someone who I found just sort of explained things, you know. So this 100 days of coding is just me going through, trying to explain things as I go. And my videos, I try to break things down because I found it hard to like get that knowledge myself when I was first learning. And I feel like I'm still at that stage where I've just learned enough 4 years experience to pass on the knowledge, and not too far gone that I'm so good at the stuff that like I just skip simple things, thinking like just because it's second nature to me, and not explaining how to open your console, how to go through the steps of things, because that's what I found. People who had just had loads of experience were just like flying along, and they wouldn't tell you like one small little thing, and then I didn't know how they got from A to B, and I was like, nothing is working. Like, how did he get that thing there? What is that thing? What's Git? You know, so I'm trying to just, from my level of experience, explain back, because I've only got 4 years and things just started to click for me like a year or two ago. Like really, they click the whole time. They've been clicking the whole time, but in a way that I feel I can verbalize and explain it back to somebody. So I think at this stage it was important to try and capture that knowledge and give it back to people. So that's why I'm here. But please do help me if you see something that I'm doing wrong, because we're all here to learn. Da, 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 da. Let's learn together on Lilly Code. Oh yeah, there you go. Little jazz tune for you. So we'll just keep on going. So what I need to do is actually define this, because in this instance what's happening is this is our actual thing that we've defined here, and here we're accessing something on that thing. So that's why we need to define it, because it's not the inbuilt way. So anyway, I'm going to just keep going. So here we're going to define this is valid. What are all these strange? Is valid, and then this is going to be email is valid. Fingers, come on. Email is valid, and then equals an email state. Email state in this case, because that's what we've called it. And then we have another constant, and we're going to open up our object brackets here and pass in a key and a value, and it is valid again. And then our value is password is valid. Password is valid, and this is equal to, we want to check the state of the password s state. Excuse me, what? So now let's see what's going on. So it's telling us now. So first of all, again, we'll start with the errors. Oh, holy Moses. So cannot, yeah, that's what I was thinking. Oh, for God's sake. Just confused. Well, no, look, we'll figure this out. This is what happens. This is real life coding, you guys. So we'll just figure this out. But that's what I was sort of thinking, and why I said, oh, I'll just continue, because I was like, I'm going to start explaining something incorrectly here. But like, this is just a variable. So to be going accessing this thing on it when we don't have that on it, that confused me. So right, so let's just go back here now. Cannot destructure property is valid of email s state as it's undefined. Okay. Excuse me. So we have identifier, email is valid, password is valid. Oh, that's because these are called email is valid and password is valid. So we're actually passing through something else down there. So this needs to go here. So this is a bit mad, but look, we're just gonna keep going. So I noticed that Max is actually passing through these values. So let's do that anyway. And then, okay, email state. Should that be that email state? No, I don't know. Yes, it should be that one. It should be that one. Because here we have the property is valid, which is how we can do the dot on it. So we've passed in, okay. So I understand where I've messed up, and we're going to rectify this together. So what's gone on here is, right, and I was correct in my assumption that how can I just go and do a dot on this, just a variable, you know? How am I accessing something on this variable? That doesn't make any sense, because a variable is just a variable. It's just a little box. Say if you declare the variable a, or let a equal hello again, you know, so it's just another example. And then A is just a box that's in memory, so they just have a little box and label it with the letter A, and the string hello is placed into that box. So it's just a box named A with hello in it, you know, there is no other properties on that string. In the loosest sense, there isn't though, you know, so we could go into like but we won't. So yes, so that's just the actual thing. Whereas when we use the reducer, we pass it an initial state, and in this case we've passed it an object, and the object has a value and the isValid property. So you can do a dot notation to access dot value in this case, and then dot is valid. So we should be using our email reduce state down here. That's what's going on, because our email reduce state has been passed in this initial value, and the value is passed in this initial object, with two properties, value and isValid. And because we have both of them, that's, you access dot notation to go inside of an object. So that other thing wasn't an object, it was just like a constant or a variable or a variable. Whereas this is an object you can access things with dot notation. So we were just using the wrong thing down below. So now we just need to put that in the right place, which if we go back to our console we should see the error and we can trace it back. So yes, so on line 42, cannot destructure property isValid of email state. So it's telling us it cannot get the property isValid of email state, and that's because it doesn't exist, because that's just a variable. Email state, it's not an object with these properties on it to be destructured. Whereas once we pass in the correct thing, the object that does have this isValid property, it will be able to get it. So we're going to go down to line 42. And yes, so this should be equal to our email reduce state, I presume. Yes, email reduce state. And then here this is going to be our password reduce state. And we're telling it what we want to update those isValid properties to, if I'm not mistaken. So let's save and reload and pray for the best. Oh my god, did you see that flicker? My heart, I was so excited. So we had a flicker of light, flicker of hope, and it was dashed. So we will continue. We still have another error. Cannot read properties of undefined reading isValid. So are we just still passing the wrong thing here? So on line 48, yes we are, because email state does not have the property isValid. So again, this should be our email reduce state, which contains a value and is valid. So that's great. This is super duper, because I guess I start sweating a little bit, you know, if I'm like, oh no. Just if I had gone crash and burn and then I'm just like trying to explain it and being like, oh, anyway, let's not even go down there. This happened. There we go. Look at this. We're in the money. We're back. Everything is hunky dory. I was gonna say dandy, but no, everything is great. Super. That is great. Feel warm. So great. I think I'm just hyper. So super. We have that back. Look at us flying along here now. After all that messing, but still. So now we'll just stick in a email, my real email for all you guys out there, guys and gals. Guys, I call guys and girls guys. So at gmail.com, and then we'll just give a password, which should be, hey, didn't mean to press reload. So let's go again. Lilly Code, lilly.code.official, because it's really me. And well, no, Lilly Code was just taken. I think I took it and then blocked it, so I had to change it. And so that's what's going on there. I spelled official correctly. I can move that back over. Oh sure, it doesn't even matter, this isn't a real form. And then we're going to just do, I forgot, then we're going to do @gmail.com, and then we have our password, and this just has to be more than lads. So we're just not feeding that back into our form, so that's okay. So then down here we just haven't passed back the value. That's great, okay. It's because I went changing everything, isn't it? So, well, that's getting the right class. That should be the right value. And that should also be correct, because you're getting it from our reducer, aren't we? So we have our value declared down on our input, and this is what puts that value back. Did I comment this out and everything? So this needs to be reinstated, because I thought we were getting rid of the Usestate altogether. I thought we were going back even further than what we actually went back. When Max said he was going back. Sometimes you just have to happy dance when things go your way. Have a dance, have a dance. Anyway, we're supposed to be coding, so there you go. That is wonderful news. Great. Oh my god. And now let's commit this, because that was ridiculous and none of that would have happened had I have just committed. So we'll go back to our terminal here, and do you know what? You're always learning. Do you know, even if you completely mess up and it all starts to go mad, try and keep your cool, guys. I don't know whether I kept my cool there. I wouldn't call that keeping my cool, but you know, I kept it enough that we got to the solution in the end. So if you're not keeping your cool, just get away from the computer, because you will not solve anything. You'll make everything so much worse. I've learned that through making things worse a whole ton of times. So now we're going to just do a git add everything, and to add everything you can also do -a, just throw it on all up there. That's grand for me for this project. And then we'll do a git commit, although I'll show you how to add specific files as well, actually, just for learning. And there's 116 files. I'm always moving things about. Do you know what? Don't even know what these are, but don't really care. They just look like they've been compiled JSON. Do you know what? I don't even care, guys. I'm going to just push it all up. They probably shouldn't be committed or something. They look like generated files from React. So what I could do is just like individually, I could just add my login component, couldn't I? Yeah. Although even going back and like removing all these, there's probably an easy way to unstage everything. There is. Just reset your head, but I don't care. So, because it doesn't really matter, you know. So I'm going to just push everything up. So we'll make a commit message, and my commit message is going to be... Now, obviously, this is because this is my own personal project, and I'm learning, and who cares if there's a few extra files in my repo. I hope I don't get grilled for that. People who know, oh Jesus, you're bloating Git so much, the poor cloud. Or I don't know, maybe I should look into that. So sorry for my ignorance if I'm just being totally wrong here, but I look at it like this is just my little project. It doesn't bother me if there's a few extra files once I have the file I need. And yeah, we're gonna just do that. So if anyone has any suggestions, please do let me know. And if I'm being inconsiderate in some way to Git, please also let me know, and because that would be great, and then I'll make sure that I fine-tune my processes in the future, you know. So we're on chapter 10, useReducer. So great, let's just stick that in as our commit message. So chapter 10, useReducer. Awesome. And then we will git push just to save where we're at. So next time if we need to go back to something, we can go back. Everything is working now. we've reinstated our old way of doing it. Perfect. Perfecto selecto. So I'm going to just watch the video while that's committing. Yeah. And see what's coming next. Okay, so now he's just explaining something. So seeing as we've got 10 minutes left, right, I'm actually going to watch this and listen to the slides, see how he explains useReducer and useState, and report back. Because, like, as in now, you know, this is only a 3-minute video, so, and it's on ×2 as well, so it should be 1.5 minutes. So I'll watch this and then I'll let you know what he's after saying about useState and useReducer, because Max is a great explainer. Okay, so the first thing Max says is that you will know when you want to use Reducer, because when things get a bit cumbersome and useState just isn't really doing the job, you'll know when to use Reducer. And I find this a little bit of a funny comment right now, only because I was using useState in a project that I was doing in work, and useState wasn't correctly managing the state, and I had a call with a colleague and we went through my approach. And it was because I was using a variable that had been declared within useState and then trying to do something with that variable within that same block, and it ran it all in one go, so it hadn't got the updated value from set this thing. So when you use your useState and then you use set this thing, it needs to come out of that function before it's actually updated, if this makes sense. So I'll just show you in live code because that is easier. So set logged in, do I have a set function here? useState, okay. Yeah, so like this, here's the set form is valid function that's updating this variable form is valid to do something. So you have your thing that you want to keep a track of, keep the state of, and then you have the function in order to update that thing. So I had this function, and then in here I was using the form is valid keyword, the variable I had defined, to switch something on and off, but only when it has finished coming out of this function did it have that value updated, which makes sense, but I just couldn't really see that. So I tried to use the useReducer. Now, in fairness, I had 1 day's experience using it and it is a bit complex. I do need to practice it a bit more. But I felt like I understood the bare bones, and I knew that it kept the state of the thing, you know, it keeps the state. You get back the exact state when you use useReducer because you pass it in the initial state. So it retains the state, and I just thought, well, this is a case where, you know, the state isn't correct and I'm not using it right. And maybe this will be a good time to try and implement useReducer, and spend a while trying to do it in a useReducer fashion instead of useState. And then was just like, threw my cards in the air and went back to useState, and because I just couldn't get it working. And then so I thought I had identified a good location to use it, and probably just because I didn't understand it enough. I didn't fully understand it. Maybe if I had have actually fully got that working, then it would have been a great implementation. So maybe, you know, that's actually perfectly correct. You will know, and obviously you need to know how, the more experience you get, the more you fully understand how something works, the better you're going to be at using and implementing that thing. So that's actually to be expected. So yes, generally you'll know when you should use it, and when Usestate becomes awkward, that's a good time to use useReducer. Yeah. So I'm going to tell you now what he's saying. It's interesting. Okay. So I'm just going to explain it because, like, I understand what he's saying here now. I don't think I actually need to listen to him say the rest. So what he's saying is that you use state in the instances. So Usestate is the main state management tool, is the first point he's made, and that it's great if you have one particular item or piece of data that you want to manage the state of. So in this case, we're looking at just the email. That's our reducer. So in this case here, we're looking at the state of the email. So we're tracking one thing, you know. Whereas in conversely, useReducer is more complex. So that's when you want to manage the state of something bigger. So you have multiple pieces of data that you want to manage the state of together. So because you can do that with useReducer, you can't do that with Usestate. Usestate is for one thing, useReducer is for many things, and useReducer is more powerful. Usestate is the general thing you generally use, but it is not weaker, it's still a very powerful tool. But useReducer just has more functionality and you can use it with more things. And then, yeah, creative state updates. So then he also says that Usestate is great if your state updates are easy, he actually did use that word, and is limited to a few kinds of updates. And then useReducer is better for more complex state management. So that's all good in the hood. Let's keep watching. So I think, to be honest now, we've got 3 minutes left. So, you know, the next video is coming up and I don't think there's much point in going in. Introducing React content. Okay, so this is another context. So now we're going to be looking at React context next tomorrow. So for day 24, don't even know what day we're on anymore. Just feels like a Wednesday to me. Day 24 is today. So day 25 tomorrow. Jeez, a quarter. Oh my god, the time is flying, I swear. So that's great. Yeah, we will continue looking at introducing React context tomorrow. And if anybody has any requests for me, please do let me know. I will be delighted to have a bit of interaction with you guys, and I really appreciate everybody taking the time to support me, have a little look, and I really hope you're learning something. That is my prerogative here, and just have a wonderful day. So, or evening, morning, whatever, have a great time. Do a dance, whatever. So thanks so much for joining me, guys, and peace out. Adios.